Hello, Mrs. K here with another episode of your Technologically Inept Foods Teacher. Okay, my wonderful students, how is my mirror? Can you guys see? Are we at a good angle for everybody in the class to see? I might just twist myself slightly here. So today we're demonstrating a creaming cake method. So we're going to do our very basic cake method. This is, if you're doing a homemade cake at home, you should start with the creaming cake method before any other. It's the most basic of the cake methods, but needs to be mixed properly for your cake to come out nicely. So I've talked to my students today about the creaming method cake. We've walked through the steps of the creaming method cake, and we're going to have a little quiz on it tomorrow with a Miss K review that is beforehand. So the steps in this method are quite simple. Sift your dry ingredients in one bowl, cream your shortening or fat, whatever fat you have, which will be solid, not oil. Add your eggs and vanilla to that cream mixture, and then measure your liquids into a liquid measuring cup. And the key with the creaming method cake is adding the liquids and the flour ingredient to your cream mixture alternately, always beginning with the dry and ending with the dry. So dry in quarters, liquids in thirds. Okay, so today we're just doing a basic vanilla cupcake. There's a lot of ways to alter these cupcakes to make them fancier. You could put sprinkles in them, you could make them almond flavor, you can change the extract, you could make them cocoa. I have another recipe where you can make those adjustments. For the purposes of COVID teaching without borders here, I have a basic vanilla cupcake recipe for my own teaching, but I can include on your Google Classroom my other one where you can make variations of this cupcake and how to make those variations. So this cupcake is going to be in your Google Classroom. If you missed a class, just pick it up at home, or if you just want to do a cupcake at home for somebody's birthday, you definitely would have to extrapolate this to be a little bit bigger, okay? So probably a doubled recipe for about 12 cupcakes. So what we're looking at here, a single recipe is probably going to give us somewhere around 6 cupcakes, which would be a half dozen. So of course, the first thing that you do anytime you bake is prepare your pan. You know, it's the least fun, but you get it out of the way. So I've got a muffin tin here prepared with 6 muffin liners. I've got a liquid measure for milk. So I need 80 mils of milk, which is not that easy to measure in this cup. Actually, I need this cup. All right, so you measure on a flat surface at eye level. All right, ooh, too much, Miss K. And then when you look down, you guys should know what the meniscus is. Do we know what the meniscus is? You should. Have you guys done titrations and all those kinds of things in science? Science. I like science, actually. Biology is my minor. Dax, don't you love biology? Science of the earth. Okay, so I've got 80 mils of milk. Great. It says sift flour, baking powder, and salt into a bowl. So remember, sifting is the process by which we add air and ensure that nothing that we don't want is in our flour. All right, so we need 175 mils of flour. For the ease of today, I want to make this a nice, easy measurement because we have to have 2 groups cooking in one after the other, Nadia. I'm going to make it 185 because 185 is, or I have it down as 175, which is a pretty weird measurement. But if I put 185 mils for flour, it's nice and easy. It's a 125 mil cup plus a 60 mil cup gives you your 185. That's a nice round measurement, okay? So, and keep in mind, measuring cups are soft measurements anyway. So in this case, 10 mils of flour isn't going to be life or death situation, okay? So I'm just doing that for your ease of measuring instead of using a whole bunch of measuring spoons. So I'm going to take 185 mils of flour if I need a measuring cup. Okay. Yes. Perfect. It's all good. Oh, yes. All right. So I've got a 125 ml cup here. Your dishes are all sanitized and ready, but because I've been doing all these YouTube videos, I have a random amount. Oh, here's my half a cup right in the thing. See, it's been so much easier for me. All right. So guys, remember with your mini pantries that after you use them, you need to make sure that you put the lids right back on so that they don't get any kind of cross-contamination. Do I have a 16 around here? 1/3. All right, well, let's see. Miss K does not have a 60 ml measuring cup because they're all out in my kitchen, so I'm gonna use 3 tablespoons. A tablespoon is 15 milliliters, so if you do that 4 times, you get 60. And in this teaching without water situation, we're gonna just use what we have. And at home, I mean, use what you have. That's what I always say. It's not a big deal. All right, so 185, I need 1 ml of salt. Salt is for flavor, and honestly, if you use as your fat your salted butter as opposed to regular unsalted butter, I might just keep out the salt because the butter itself has salt in it. Dax, my good man, you have a question.
Can I close them?
Can you close the blinds? Yes, of course. No one should be blinded at school. Close the blinds. The blinds are blinding you. Okay, and then, pardon me? Was that not funny? You didn't like my joke? Fine.
No, the blinds are bad.
Well, you should have seen what we've had before in the past. Do you want to move? Why don't you just move to the other end of the table? Because at this time of day, the light just comes in the window there. Just move yourself. That's okay, honey. All right, so I'm leveling my baking powder. Baking powder is a acid and a base together. That's why they call it magic. The magic is basically cream of tartar or tartaric acid. So just by moistening the batter, it'll be activated and carbon dioxide will be produced, and it will be produced the second time when you put it into the oven and heat is applied so that you have a nice light and fluffy product with a lot of gas in it. All right, so I'm sifting, sift, 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 sift. If you say that, sift, 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 it seems to work better, no? Okay, now I need, it tells me that I need 1 egg and 2 mils of vanilla. Okay, wait, I got a cream. So for myself, I have shortening. It says 30 mils of margarine, and I'm using shortening. That's totally fine. The fats are interchangeable, although I find myself that the shortening doesn't taste as good, of course, as margarine or butter. So you just have to be mindful of that. And I actually do want to level this into a spoon because fat it's a tenderizer in baked products, and it will affect the structure. So having way too much shortening in a baked product, more than what's asked for in the recipe, will have a significant impact on the baking. So I'm going to measure that. Now everything here has to be pre-measured for all of my students due to COVID reasons. Otherwise, students would normally just come right up to the demo table and measure everything here on their own. But as is every subject, everybody's trying to navigate this new era of teaching during a pandemic, which we're all just doing the best that we can, and that's all that we can do. So I'm trying to navigate that by making these very educational and wonderful YouTube videos. So I've got 30 mils of fat there, okay? So make sure that it's nice and level. Now, creaming method, we talked about this, my wonderful students. Creaming is when you cream your fats and your sugars together. So I've got my shortening here, and then my sugar is 100 mils of sugar. So when you're measuring out your sugar and you're like, okay, well, what cups do I have? First of all, you go to your biggest. I have a 125 ml cup, but that's over 100. So go to your next biggest. So I need an 80 ml. Okay, I'm gonna use an 80, and I need to get my way up to 100. So make sure, so I'm just using the back of my wooden spoon. So I've got an 80 ml cup here, and I'm still going to need, 20 mils more. So where did my set of measuring spoons go? They're probably under my lid here. I have a very tiny working space. All right, so I've got my a tablespoon here, so I can use that. All right, in here, and then I need 5 more. Okay, level, and that gives me a nice even 100. Okay, I'm gonna just try to get rid of all my dishes to here so that I can do all my dishes after. Now I'm gonna put my lid back on my container and lead by example. It's always good to work in a clean and sanitary environment where you're putting things away as you go so you don't have a horrible mess. Somebody should explain that to my husband. because usually when he cooks, I have a big mess to clean up after. But he doesn't know how to bake. But he's my tester of all the stuff that I make. He tests things. He says, okay, Zoshka, this is good, this is not good, blah, blah, blah. And then he gives me, and then I make modifications because I know he's he's very honest. He doesn't, if it's not good, he'll tell me it's not good. That's good, I like that. All right, 2 mils of vanilla. Now with the vanilla, you can either add your vanilla into the milk or you can add it into the cream mixture. It really doesn't matter. I'm gonna put my vanilla in my liquids because I think it's a liquid and so it should go there. But either way, it's no big deal. And then I have 1 egg. So I'm gonna crack my egg into my cream mixture here. Sometimes eggs, depending on the recipe, might actually end up in a liquid mixture, but usually they go in the cream mixture. So I'm gonna mix that together. And now I'm gonna cream my egg right in here. It's gonna get nice and bright and yellow. The egg, the most versatile food on the planet, can do everything from bind meat together. It can coat food so that you can make yourself a homemade chicken finger. It can emulsify things like mayonnaise, cakes. You can boil it. You can use it as a garnish. You can use it to eat enough protein in your diet so that you can grow huge muscles. What a phenomenal food. I challenge somebody to find a food that is that versatile. Okay? So you guys think about it, and if you can challenge me, that'd be great. So now what I have here,
Flour.
flip off, as you can see, cream mixture, liquids, flour. Okay, just like this. Now I'm gonna move over from my wooden spoon, and we need to disperse fat droplets really quickly among the lecithin and the egg yolk. So we need to start with our dry, about 1/4 of your dry ingredients, so start with dry and finish. Don't waste any. Okay, like Miss Kay just did, just a little bit. 1/3 of wet, and then, woo, she's flying out of the bowl. And then you gotta use your muscles to try to beat as fast as possible. Okay, and what we're doing is emulsifying by using this process of adding flour and liquids alternately. So then a 1/3 or 1/4 of the dry, 1/3 of the wet, and beat again. As Michael Jackson said, just beat it. If you grab your whisk overhand, you can beat it faster. So overhand is instead of like this, up and over. I hold my bowl in an angle. Ooh, scooper. All right. This is a little more liquidy than I would like, but sometimes recipes lend themselves to be doubled or halved, and sometimes they don't. It'll be fine, but not ideal. And if you're doing this at home, use a hand mixer. Okay, so again, this is a thick batter. Now I'm at the pouring point, so now I might use one of these measuring cups here, just to scoop to 2/3 full into my muffin tin. Okay, make sure they're consistent, right? Because you don't want one to be huge, one to be small, and then one bakes and one doesn't. Okay, I'm gonna put these in, and then of course, the method for doneness is going to be that toothpick test. Put a toothpick in, and it looks like I'm going to get 5. So what's going to happen is I'm going to have to remove this liner, pop in a little bit of water. All good. Maybe. Yeah, put some water on top of all my cupcakes, just like I just did, and then pop them in the oven. And I believe the baking time is somewhere between 15 to 18 minutes. Sorry about that, Shane, honey. I kind of nudged you. Make sure your pan placement is in the center. Put your timer on. And ta-da, that's it.